Folks, welcome into sportsbookreview.com. It's time to talk a little Week 14 NFL action. It is Thursday, and last week, Kyle, we didn't have a football game to talk about on Thursday night, but tonight we do, and a decent matchup between the New England Patriots and the Los Angeles Rams. Welcome into the show. I'm Donnie Seymour. He's Kyle Purviance. We are sportsbookreview.com, and this is a action-packed weekend. Why is that, Kyle? We don't have any bye weeks left. It's like Christmas come early for us. I'm ready to get after some of these football games. We'll break down the game tonight. And, of course, that entire slate on Sunday. Some good games and a lot of injuries that we need to report here, Kyle.
Ooh, the injury report. You're not kidding. I mean, it is 45 pages long, it seems like, every single team. It's pretty crazy. And you can hear Freedom flying high already. They're ready for Week 14. The Jets are roaring. It's actually not even Jets today. It's like these weird, old-timey giant planes. I don't know what the hell's going on, but
they're like the Frank Gore of the Jets going
yeah,
over.
Frank Gore's flying in for his plasma treatment on his concussion or whatever the hell they do. I don't know what the hell they do there, but I'm excited for Week 14. Fantasy football playoffs. You're right. Every single team is playing this week. A ton of games to get to. A good Thursday night game between two teams that are really hard to predict sometimes, especially the Patriots. So I'm looking forward to it today. And a big thank you to everyone in the chat box waiting for us as well.
No, it's going to be good stuff. We're going to get through it. We have a lot of things to go over today, but we always like to get that business out of the way. And it's not really business because each and every day we come on here. And the one thing that we ask from you guys is, hey, if you like the show, support the show, thumbs up and subscribe to sportsbookreview.com. You guys have done that in droves. 76,100 people have hit that subscribe button. It's awesome stuff because when we come on and be passionate about talking about the NFL, you get that delivered right to your inbox. You can come into the chat box and say hello. But that's a sign that you guys like us, that it keeps rising because if you didn't like us, that number would come on here, Kyle. We'd be like 76,100. We do the show Sunday. Hey, 74,500. What's going on out here? So when the number rises, that's actually a good thing, just like the stock market here. So thank you guys for doing that. Coming in the chat box here. Randy's in here. NC's in here. Dan, Akbar, Emza, Don P. Welcome in. Let's have some fun and kick it off. But before we do that, a lot of people ask us all the time, hey, guys, I missed the show. Where can I catch up on this? Or I like to improve my NFL betting skills. Do you have any reading materials that we can use? It's so simple. Right below where me and Kyle are talking right here on YouTube, you're going to see a link, sbrpicks.com/NFL. Click that link. Get into the Pick 6 contest. Read all, because not only do we like to give our opinions on the air, but there's so many good writers behind the scenes that pick games, go over games, what you should look for. It's the best spot on the internet to take a look at NFL wagering, Kyle. And Kyle, stop clicking on it right now and going and reading that. We got a show to do here, man.
I got to do a show. Well, I got to try to cheat because then the powers that be see that we're doing a good job. So all you guys go there and click on it. Get it done right now. Make us look good. It's important. When you start to get to our age, it's hard to look good. We can't all, not age and look like Phillip Rivers like Donnie. So help us out. Help me out around here and go over there and check out sbrpicks.com/NFL. I had to get it in as well.
We would rather be working here than sue SBR for old age, and kicking us out. So just
discrimination.
We don't have these discrimination lawsuits that we have to go after. But let's have some fun, Kyle. Let's get Week 14. We talked about it Tuesday, which I like. We set the table, see what's cooking. Now Thursday, there's actually a football game tonight, but we know a lot more, and some of these lines are on the move. Why don't we start with talking about tonight? Typically what we do here is we're going to go over this game, give some increments, but then at the end of the show, we're going to double back, give out some prop bets, and get after it. But let's take a look and spend a few minutes on this one. It's a good one. 101-102 rotation. That is the New England Patriots heading out west to play the Los Angeles Rams. Key ingredient in this game I do like to look at, smart move by New England, but also helped out by the NFL scheduling them to play back-to-back teams in the city of Los Angeles. So in effect, go out there, get a big win against the Chargers, 45-0. Stay out there, no family, no worries, just concentrate on football. Take the field again tonight in Thursday to play the Rams. Now, when we take a look at the line, Kyle opened up offshore at SBRodds.com at Pinnacle, one of the sharper books, at -6. We're now seeing -4.5 across the board. And I have to tell you, got a couple people asking me, why is the line going lower? I actually do agree with that line movement going low here. Do I think the Rams are more talented than the New England Patriots? Of course they are. But there's a couple things that I like in this football game that we'll get to that's going to try to persuade you to go with the Patriots, or at least a Patriot-type wager here. Looking at the line going from 45.5 as a total, now down to 43.5, you're in that critical zone where you need everything to go right. But I have to tell you, the first thing I looked at in this game, Kyle, is if you allow New England to play slow, they will play slow. If you are the Rams and say, we're not going to push the issue, it's going to be a one-possession game at the end here. Before I get to my plays and what I like, just starting it off, I'm feeling New England a little bit. I'm feeling that line movement going a little bit lower, but I know how good the Rams can be, specifically on defense here, Kyle.
Yeah, and the Patriots defense has really started to step up too. They weren't as good earlier in the year than you see with Gilmore sort of back. That secondary has really made things tough on opposing quarterbacks. And, quite frankly, I know Cam Akers has stepped up a little bit and looked good the last couple of weeks, but that's the strength of the Rams offense, is those wide receivers, getting Jared Goff out of the pocket, getting him on the move a little bit, two talented tight ends. So the passing game is big for the Rams. And you're right, we've seen this formula work for teams before, staying on the coastline. We saw earlier in the year with my 49ers in New York, what New England's done. I've gotten the Patriots wrong several times this year, to a fault. I just absolutely have. They're sort of an enigma, and the Rams can be too. If Jared Goff isn't on, the team really struggles. Now, both of these teams, terrific defensively. The Rams, for my money, are probably the best or second best defense in the league. You could argue maybe the Saints right there with them. I know Pittsburgh's got some injuries, and Baltimore, and they're right. But really, this Rams defense from top to bottom, front seven, back end, they are really, really talented. They pose a problem for New England. When you watch the New England games, especially last week, you're like, why aren't they just loading the box and taking the ball out of Cam Newton's hands in the running game? Just put one guy out there in defense. He can't throw the ball to save his life. He's grossly inaccurate. Well, the Rams have terrific man corners who can shut down the passing game. If they're aggressive with the run, you can really stymie that New England offense. It's a tough game for me. I don't think you're crazy leaning to New England. I'm taking the Rams because I don't trust the Patriots, but I do want to have that caveat in there. I've gotten the Patriots wrong so many times this year. They're a tough team to figure out.
Oh, sure. Akbar actually says here, now I'm going to try to translate this because I think it sounds better. He says, I'm waiting for Kyle to bathe a team tonight. So that's what he's looking forward for you to do here. But obviously you know what he means. But reading it actually was kind of funny. Got a laugh out of that. But going over a couple of things, Jimmy Lake says, tease the Patriots, plus 10.5, over 37. I actually agree with that because I do think the Patriots will keep it close. And again, you're in the danger zone. What do you feel more comfortable with in today's NFL, Kyle? Even though we know New England's offense isn't all that good, do you feel more comfortable, sitting on that under 50, which we know the NFL can score points, or over that 37? Because, look, it can stay under the 37, but that's just such a dangerous zone here in the NFL to look at. Now, here's what I'm taking a look at on the New England Patriots because, again, I'm not a big fan. And one of those last stand games I like to say is like, I'm out on the Patriots. They went and lost to Houston, and then here we are trying to, get my way back in the door with the New England Patriots. Take a look at them as the way they played. Winners of 4 out of 5 games. Beat the Jets 30-27, almost lost to them there. Beat Baltimore 23-17, lost to Houston, the game that I like to rip them and bury them and throw dirt on them. That here they are, beating Arizona 20-17, and then also just drilling the Chargers 45-0. So when I look at the team overall defensively, we know they're always going to have a sound game plan with Bill Belichick. Actually only allowed one team over 300 yards passing this year. Same thing as I don't even know if the Rams actually allowed a team over 300 yards, maybe one at the most. So you're going to get a pretty good defensive showing here. And it always comes down to this, Kyle, with me and the Rams. You don't have a tremendous pass rush for the New England Patriots, which really gives Jared Goff a problem. Yeah. Last week, we were right. 100% right on the Rams. Their offense is going to get right. They dropped 38 points on a bad Arizona defense. But this defense isn't going to be the same. And I don't think New England's game plan, Kyle, coming in is, let's drop Cam Newton back in shotgun 5, bum wide receivers out here, and see if we can overthrow the Rams. I think they keep it close, keep it on the ground. Cam Newton, 15 carries. Harris, another 15 carries. They have like 3 other active running backs you could split those carries with. That slows down the game because when we took a look the last time these two teams matched up, now, a lot of moving parts on the field, but that was the most boring Super Bowl designed by a reason because I sat there and said, if only the Rams had a quarterback that could do something, they could win this game. And I'm still talking about Jared Goff that way. But again, Kyle, we nailed it last week, but I'm back off of the Goff train this week. I just don't know if he throws them to a big victory here.
That's the problem. It's always what Jared Goff will we get. And last week he was terrific. God, he had like 22 completions at the half. It was a good game plan. And you're right. That was the worst Super Bowl I've ever watched. And I watched my 49ers lose to Baltimore. I thought that was the worst one I ever watched. No, that New England Rams one was absolutely terrible. A couple of things of note. A couple of the corners, Jones and J.C. Jackson, a little bit banged up. Of course, they're going to play. That's sort of what they do, these limited practice reports before Thursday. They're going to play. The real advantage is going to be Cooper Kupp in the slot. He has another advantage here tonight with if Jackson and Gilmore stay on the outside. and they run what they've been running. Now, it wouldn't shock me if maybe they bring Gilmore in the slot if Cooper Kupp starts to go. It's just a tough secondary for New England. And so I think the under is the bet here. I know it is scary. 43.5, you're absolutely right. Because all it takes is one fumble, one pick six by two secondaries who are absolutely opportunistic to ruin the entire thing. But the pace of play will be dictated. It's going to be a slow game. You're probably not going to see a bunch of big passing plays downfield. Both secondaries are going to be good against the pass. So will Jared Goff be able to get it done against a Belichick scheme defense? We've seen him not be able to do that in the past. The New England defense is stepping up. Certainly the last few weeks, they looked great against the Chargers last week. And that offense was humming. I mean, I know the Chargers were losing games and, bad coaching and stupid mistakes late. But that offense was rolling, and they absolutely shut him down. I mean, who do you trust more at quarterback? I know it's weird to say, but I trust the rookie Herbert much more than I trust Jared Goff to make big plays with his arm. I'm still going to take the Rams. I just think when I look at the two defenses, both very good, I give the slight edge to the Rams. When I look at the offense, obviously I give the edge to the Rams, simply more talent on the outside and a better passer by far in Jared Goff over Cam Newton. You're right. It's going to be that RPO, slow down running game for New England. So I do think it plays to the over. I'm going to give the edge to the Rams here. But it certainly makes me nervous because, again, New England has been my kryptonite all year long.
Yeah, because when you think you have things figured out and you're ready to bury the New England Patriots, they face two dynamic offenses back-to-back weeks, Kyle. 160 in the air to Arizona, 188 to the Chargers. Now, to me, the 188 was unbelievably impressive versus the Chargers because they beat them by 45 points, right, which usually opens up because I know we're going to be able to bash a little bit later in the show the Cleveland Browns when we talk about the game next Monday night. But you saw Cleveland get a massive lead against Tennessee, and then you looked at the final score because the other team is saying, hey, get what you want. The Patriots were saying, get what you want, and still able to shut down the truck. And again, this isn't like, hey, Joe Flacco's back there doesn't want to play or, some rookie at quarterback. Even though Herbert is a rookie, this kid's throwing for 300 a game, down 40 points, and can't get over 200 total yards passing in that one. That's always eye-opening. The one thing you always know is you have an elite defensive performance, or at least coach performance, that you're getting out of the Patriots. I wanted to bury him. Doesn't look like I am. So the play I actually like the best in this game, and keep in mind, again, I saw somebody in the chat box ask about prop bets. We'll circle back and do those at the end of the show once Kelsey comes on. I like the New England Patriots, Kyle, tonight, not for the game, because you're going to ask them to, stay within one possession and win it. I'll take the +3 in the first half of this game with the New England Patriots. Keep it close, use your good plays, and hang around, because I'm still under that philosophy that says if New England is, not covering at the half and down 7, is Cam Newton going to bring them back in the passing game? No. You have to play a good football game all 4 quarters for the New England Patriots to win games since their offense isn't stellar. Give me New England +3 in the first half here.
Yeah, I think that's pretty smart. And don't be surprised if you see some weirdness in the kicking game tonight. Both kickers were kind of banged. Nick Folk has been for weeks and weeks. He's going to kick. But the Rams dealing with the Matt Gay, Austin McKinnis option at kicker here. So that also could play into giving New England those points there. If let's say you have a tie game, 10-10, and you don't want to push here. The Rams, drive down 2-minute drill, have a long, late field goal. This isn't Greg Zuerlein in years past, even though we saw him sort of collapse, didn't we, on Tuesday? But, they have a questionable kicking situation here with the Rams this week, too. So I think that's a really smart play going the first half and taking the points. Overall for the game, though, and you're right, if the Rams are up at any point in this game 14-3, stick a fork in New England, it's over. They're not going to pass their way back into this game. It's just not going to happen. So New England needs to keep it close early. So if you're backing New England at all, I think taking the points in the first half is a really smart play. I'm going to go the Rams and go the under. I don't think you're crazy taking I'm always nervous taking an under at 43.5. Always. It's the NFL. But I do think these two defenses are so good that it's sort of a 24-17 Rams win won't surprise me tonight, sitting right around 41 points.
I was on Twitter going back and forth, and I love it because if you guys follow, Kyle, DFS Bachelor on Twitter, myself at RightSide VP, I love going. My favorite thing to do is talk NFL football during the season, and you have those, confluences of what's going to take place. And I kept getting myself back to, if Jared Goff plays well tonight, the Rams are going to win this football game. But if he's just Jared Goff, this is going to be a, slugfest back and forth type of game. And if you get bad Jared Goff, where he's throwing tip ball interceptions because he's throwing sidearm and not able to get outside the pocket, that's going to be a long night for them. And I'm just trying to reel back. And again, we'll fast forward the show, and tomorrow I'll be back. Like, the hell am I going? I buried New England 3 weeks ago, and they win 2 games, and I'm back on track, and now I'm off.
Yeah.
I just like also the fact, Kyle, they stayed out there. So no advantage whatsoever for the Rams because an idiot football team, which we've seen it before, let's go to LA. Let's fly back home. Let's go to LA. We've seen it many times. They made the smart move to stay there. We'll circle back on this game in just a little bit, guys. So if you have any questions on it, we'll be able to double back at the end of the show. Let's get to the Sunday card here, and it's a quick one. So usually we like to spend 5-6 minutes per game. We're going to hustle up on a couple of these games to make sure we hit this entire card and not waste your entire Thursday evening where once we get off the show, Kyle, kickoff between New England and Los Angeles Rams. We're not going to do that to you. Exactly. 153, 154, Tennessee and Jacksonville. We saw Jacksonville last week, which I was stunned by. It's amazing that Baker Mayfield was able to go on the road and light that football team up, but not so much as that is where was Tennessee in the first half? Like they fumbled the football in the backfield, couldn't complete any passes, didn't cover anybody, and we're not taking a look at the greatest aerial show of all time by the Cleveland Browns. Now they're going to go up against Jacksonville, Mike Lennon. Laviska Shenault is practicing this week. You saw him go out at the half last week with the lead against the Minnesota Vikings. Then that offense sort of stumbled because as Kyle, because I know Kyle's a big 49ers fan, much as myself with Deebo Samuel, that type of player adds so much to your offense that you can hand the football off, throw short passes, can do it all. He went out of the game, that offense struggled, still ended up late to tie it up. But if we look at this game, now you're getting a wounded animal here in Tennessee, Santos. We just got embarrassed. It can't happen again. And what better defense to say it can't happen again is to run that Jacksonville defense up the flagpole. Again, I do think Mike Lennon will be competent the same way I thought he would be last week, going up against a bad defense in Minnesota. Now you're going up against a bad defense here as well. There's going to be some points going on. 52.5, I still think it goes over. But we get back to that crux of the argument, Kyle. 7 on the road is a big number. Most of the outlets at SBRodds.com showing 7.5. I want to say I'm glad Tennessee lost last week because they should be able to go into Jacksonville and take some anger out. I like the fact is, again, taking another look at it, if we go full game, they got to win by double digits. We all know how that can turn into a loss when the last minute, hey, down 10, let them score, and it's only 7. It's not like you have to punch you through the back door at that point. First half of this game, -4. Tell me Tennessee won't be up for it to break here, Kyle. You can't tell me that, right?
They got to get off to a much better start this week. What happened last week was just embarrassing, and you saw them tighten up in the second half, and it's hard to read a lot into that because, you sort of take your foot off the gas when you're up by 31 points at the half, but they got within 6 points, which I still think was pretty impressive considering how badly they were being beaten on. And look, we've all on the show, we've been cashing tickets, taking Jacksonville on the points because they have been covering against much better teams than they are, Minnesota, Green Bay, etc. I think you're right. Jacksonville is going to be angry this week. James Robinson's knee's a little bulky this week. How hard they run him. I mean, why waste him when you're already trying to lose football games? Yeah. You already know, hey, we have got a legitimate running back, an undrafted kid who has surprised everyone and looks like the real deal. Why overdo it and get him overly hurt? So I do think you see some more of those backup backs for Jacksonville as well. I'm taking the Titans here. I don't love, we talk about it all the time, taking, road teams by over a touchdown is never a way to make a ton of money here. But I do think this is the week where Jacksonville goes back to being beaten how they should be beaten. Points will be scored. The Tennessee defense is not any good. They can't stop anybody. Anytime you're making, Cardero Hodges and Rashard Higgins look like Jerry Rice and John Taylor out there, your defense has problems. They can't get after the quarterback, so there's not going to be a lot of pressure on the passer, Glennon or Gardner Minshew here. So I'll take Tennessee to win this game by double digits. I think this is finally the week we're not going to take the Jacksonville points. Give me the Titans.
Funny, look in the chat box here. Somebody's saying, Nathan Stern, I feel like Cam is due for a poo-poo game. That's every game. Like every game Cam Newton stinks. Like I don't he'll run for 50 yards and at the goal line, he's like a building, so he falls into the end zone, and he'll dance in the back of the end zone. But then when he sees this, I went like 10 of 19 for 38 yards. That's his normal game out here. So I know we're waiting on a poo-poo game. I've been seeing him each and every game. Randy Radziak says, can the Jags hold Henry under 150? He should be angry as well. They should be winning. But come on, man, we're talking $150. That's like saying, hey, can they hold, Mahomes under 450? We're like, well, it's a lot of yards, man.
It's a lot. Yeah, that's a lot of yards. He can certainly do it. He plays well against Jacksonville, but 150 yards, I'm not sure they're going to need him to do that to win this game against Jacksonville. Tennessee should boat race Jacksonville. They need to bounce back after an embarrassing week last week. But I do think it's funny. I got 2 picks locked, Pats and Jags. Akbar in the chat is right. But I haven't overly criticized Jacksonville. I've made some money off them. You got to wait till I really.
Yes, I made money last week. They paid Kyle. Last week I needed a touchdown with 3:50 on the clock to tie it up. They got it for me. Props to Jackson.
That's it. Props to Jacksonville, and thank you to Tackman Clan Killer 187 for the donation there on the chat. But it's right. Wait for me to really bag on a team.
Read what he said on that too, by the way.
We'll throw 19 yards interception to a pick. Yeah, and it could happen. But it's true. Akbar's right. If I bag on a team and just call them the worst thing since sliced bread, you should probably bet them, because so far this year, every time I've done that, I've had to eat some crow for that. But doesn't mean I'm going to stop. I'm definitely not going to stop.
No, how about this one? 155, 156. It's 1 o'clock in the afternoon, which I think I want to say Cincinnati is on Central Time. I'm not totally sure of that, but that means that we're we still have hours, Kyle, before the lights come on and it turns actually into prime time. So Andy Dalton's going to get a shot at that Cincinnati defense this week. Opens up 3.5, stays at 3.5, over under 43, 42. Still staying in that same type of range here. Not the most exciting game, but we as bettors, I like to lay down with some of these games with fleas and just take a step back and look. It's funny because when you match the teams up, Kyle, like style for style, energy for energy, player for player, you still want to go Dallas, because if there's no heavy pass rush, which Cincinnati can't do, right? Andy Dalton is functional in the pocket. As you like to say, it's not at 4:25 on Fox. It's not at 8 o'clock on NBC. It's not on ESPN on Monday Night Football. It's in the middle of the day. I don't buy a lot into Andy Dalton going home to an empty Cincinnati building and saying, you should have never got rid of me, because look where these two franchises, it's not like he's coming back, with the sledgehammer going, we're 9-3 over here or whatever, and you should never let me go. You're sort of weebling around that here, but still. Functional wide receiver, Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, and also Michael Gallup, decently athletic tight end. You still have Zeke in the backfield and Pollard, who's a really good number 2 option. They should move the football against Cincinnati. And when you take a look at Allen supposed to get the start again, there is nothing about Cincinnati's offense that gives me pleasure in saying, you know what? I know Dallas stinks, Kyle. Give me Cincinnati at home to get the cover. I can't. Joe Burrow. Completely different story. This kid, and again, no Mixon, said to be he's able to practice back again this week. Said he's not even going to play. With smart move, by the way, for a running back. There's no need to bring him back. But when I look at this game, Dallas is still the better team. But can you get the stink of what Dallas provides? Because it wasn't exactly like they played a good football game after like a 12 or 13-day break against a COVID-ravaged Ravens team. And then when you zipped it back to Thanksgiving, got embarrassed against the Redskins, who weren't that good of a football team, or the Washington football team. They go up against a really bad team, but you still got to win by roughly 7 on the road to get this cover here.
Yeah, I'm actually going to take 10 a.m. Pacific time, 1 p.m. Andy Dalton here. Again, you're right. The lights aren't on. It's a Sunday morning game. That's when Andy Dalton excels, and there's too many weapons. So Cincinnati has one good defensive player, William Jackson. That's it. And he can make things hard on some wide receivers. But CeeDee Lamb and Gallup and Schultz and Zeke, they should get off in this game. And then you flip it over. You're right. No Joe Mixon. The Dallas Cowboys allow the most rushing yards in the league to opposing players and teams. So you look at Giovanni Bernard, who's been filling in for Joe Mixon the last 6 weeks as the starter. 5 of those games, he's had under 37 yards rushing. He should get more in this game. Should be a little bit better in this game, but there's nothing about that Cincinnati offense with that kid at quarterback. You're not going to be able to exploit the matchups on the outside with Higgins and Green and Boyd against a bad secondary, because this Brandon Allen kid stinks. He's terrible. So I actually think the Dallas offense moves the ball. I still think it's tougher for Cincinnati to do so. 2 terrible teams. I don't want to waste too much time on this. But I guess, it's worked out for me a couple times this year when I've had the feeling. I guess I'm going to bet on Bonehead Mike McCarthy and the Red Rifle to get it done in Cincinnati. The revenge game, not really a revenge game for Andy Dalton in Cincinnati. So give me another road favorite. Oh boy, what am I doing so far? Give me the Dallas Cowboys.
I think you can get a competent performance out of Dallas's offense, and that should be enough to go against Cincinnati's organization, if you will. So that's where I'll leave it in that one. 157, 158. Look, upstart New York Giants supposedly now going to win the NFC East. We have Daniel Jones penciled in as a starter, But look, if the hamstring, half of what he does is move around and be athletic in the pocket. Athletes and their hamstrings, I'm good coach, I can play. And all of a sudden, you got to make that quick twitch move in the pocket to get outside. There goes the hamstring. It's another 3 to 4 weeks. When you take a look at this matchup, they're going to be in this game because they are fighting for Joe Judge and the head coach because they're taking a look at competent performances on defense. They didn't play a particularly great game of offense. Didn't even score against Seattle at the half. Got some breaks on defense where they got the fumbles. They got the tip ball interceptions and turned them into points. But you can't have another type of offensive performance that you had last week and expect to beat decent football teams like Arizona who can score. Again, we're taking a look at Kyler Murray. Not the greatest performances the past couple of weeks, but as that shoulder gets back in order, that team is going to be better and better each week. Now, I did see somebody else in the chat box said Hopkins out with neck and back injury today. We'll see if that's just one of those rest days for a veteran or how that creeps up on Thursday and Friday and Saturday. That's going to be something to keep an eye on. But looking at this game overall, over under 45 seems about right because when I take a look at the Giants, specifically if Jones goes, still going to have that hamstring issue. If Colt McCoy goes, they're dead in the water on offense. They're going to look to do what they do best, Kyle. Let's play competent defense. Let's limit the damage on offense. Let's limit the possessions that Kyler Murray gets, which leads you to a 45, which is a really low number with Arizona. But it's one of those games I think gets there. It's all going to depend for me on what I'm hearing for the New York Giants with Daniel Jones. If he's healthy and off of the injury report, I'm going to go over 45. But if he's still one of those, hey, let's protect him a little bit, or if they even go to Colt McCoy, that turns into a stone under for me here.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. And the Giants defense, wow, they have really played well. And this is another case where Arizona been struggling a little bit, haven't looked that great, sort of fallen to 500. And the Giants are on the rise. And we like to bet teams who people are down on and everyone's up on the Giants. Yes. I think this is a trap. I really do. I like Arizona. Again, it's another road favorite. I don't love doing that. I'm seeing some weird juice across the board too. So it doesn't seem like all the books have really decided what they want to do yet. I think they're waiting, just as we are, on the news for Daniel Jones. If Daniel Jones plays, you're right. I think he can make, if he's fully healthy, again, it's a hamstring issue. And we've talked about that, a lot. But I just think Arizona bounces back here. I think Kyler Murray gives them fits. I kind of like what I saw out of his arm last week. I know they lost that game to the Rams, but it seemed like he was able to throw the ball downfield. Didn't look like there was too much discomfort. I think this game, knowing that they need to make a late push to make the playoffs, you start to see a more aggressive Kyler Murray use his legs a little bit more. Kenyon Drake seems to be back on track now. DeAndre Hopkins, he's missed Thursday practice and been questionable or doubtful 4 million times in his career, and he always plays. He always plays, so I expect DeAndre Hopkins to be there. He's going to have a tough matchup with James Bradbury on the outside. Bradbury's been very good for the Giants. The Giants have certainly been playing well. But while everyone's hopped up on the Giants, I'm going to go the other way, take Arizona. I think, I'm looking at a 1.5 at Bet Online. I love that. Then some 3s, 2.5. I think Arizona gets it done here. If Jones plays, you're right. I'll go the over 45 if it's Colt McCoy. Sign me up for the under. After rewatching that game against that bad Seattle defense, I know they won the game, but that was the Wayne Gallman show. They are so lucky Wayne Gallman found some holes because he looked dreadful throwing the football. Take the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah, no, I had to take the dog. I had the team total of Giants over 16.5 with some heavy juice, and I had to take the dog for a walk at the half, being like, I'm so stupid. I can't believe I overthought this. I'm supposed to be a smart guy, outsmarted myself. Luckily, they were able to get that 17 points there in the second half to pull. Which, again, credit to them. They weren't supposed to win that football game against Seattle, and they did. So it shows the signs of a pretty good coach there. Rob Hausler's Danny Dimes playing. That's the key issue here. If he does play, which looks like he's on track to play, that might change some things around for us. Over 200 people currently watching live in the chat box. Thank you guys for doing that. 34 thumbs up, 0 thumbs down. Again, if you miss anything part of the show, if you come in here right now, Donnie, did you and Kyle go over the Dallas-Cincinnati game? Yes, we did. You can always catch up right there at SBRPicks.com/NFL. Now we head to the Windy City. How the Chicago Bears lost this last week, I don't know. And again, it's not this guy's fault, but I'll just say it's guy's fault. Get Mr. Trubisky quarterback. He's laying points. Just take the L each and every week. But Kyle, the Houston Texans come to town here, 159-160. Deshaun Watson, who is playing at like an MVP level without any help whatsoever, Now he's going to go in and play Chicago in this game, who all of a sudden their defense looks susceptible to big plays, to ground games, to guys with not much weapons like Matthew Stafford had last week. And here we go, because Watson looks like he can do whatever he wants at any time and scramble. They're actually favored in this game on the road, -1 over the Chicago Bears, and over-under of 45. When we take a look at the temperature expected in this game, 32 degrees, around 10 miles an hour. That's what you get for this time of year in Chicago. Dome team going outdoors, but now roles flip over. Mitchell Trubisky is now not asked. Well, I mean, basically he's got to win the game, but not cover. Hey, Mitch, you got to win by 7 points in this one. He just has to win this game in order to get the cover here. Cold temperatures, two defenses I think now can be had. I'm leaning towards over 45 in this game, even though Houston doesn't have all the weapons it needs, and Mitchell Trubisky is a quarterback. Two athletic guys I think can make some plays with their feet, and one of those players, Deshaun Watson, just doesn't seem like any defense he goes up against, it doesn't matter, or the weapons, he makes things happen.
Yeah, I mean, he's by far the best player on the field for both teams. And look, the Houston defense stinks, and now the Chicago Bears defense stinks. I don't know what the hell happened to that defense, but they are absolutely dreadful. I think it's kind of a tale of this is where you want your bet to tell a story. If you like Houston in this one, I think you take the over. I think that both teams score and Houston wins this game. Both teams get in the 20s and Houston pulls it out. If you like Chicago, maybe the defense wakes up a little bit. The cold weather and the wind sort of get to that limited offense and limited weapons in the offense with Houston there, and Chicago wins with the under. That's kind of how I'm feeling with this one. The Bears defense seems to have given up weeks ago, and last week was sort of the culmination of that. So it's really tough to say, okay, yeah, I believe in the Bears defense to step up this week and show some pride when they just simply haven't been doing it. Matt Nagy is a dumpster fire of a coach as well. I'm surprised we haven't dumped on him more. He's next on my radar of bonehead coaches who I just don't think should have that job in the NFL. Matt Nagy is very, very high on the list. Man, this game for me is a total stay away from my actual money. But since we pick sides here, obviously I'm not going back to trusting Mitchell Trubisky. I ate that hot sauce last week, and I've had heartburn ever since. I will pass on that. So I am going to take the Texans, but again, hard to trust either team. If this game was in Houston, obviously it'd be a much different story. We'd probably have a 3.5 line or something like that. But I'll take, which is kind of weird because there's no real fans and everything. But the cold weather and Kiki QT's a little banged up as well now. He's going to play, I'm sure. Gross, greasy game. I'll take Houston. Don't love anything about this game at all whatsoever.
But I actually, the more I look at the game from this week, I'm trying to find an angle to get over, because I did like the way Trubisky and the offense operated the past 2 weeks. They show they can score, being in the 20s. But even looking at Houston, now keep in mind also some of these weapons have dissipated over the past 2 games. But if we dip back and go to one of they open up the season 0-4. They pick up the win. They put up 30. This is when Bill O'Brien, I should say, preface this. When Bill O'Brien left the equation, the stank got out of Houston. Here's what they've done on offense, Kyle. 30 versus Jacksonville, 36 versus Tennessee, 20 versus Green Bay, 27 versus Jacksonville, 7 against Cleveland. But again, you got to wipe that game clean because they basically played in a hurricane. So if you throw that out, 27 versus New England, 41 versus Detroit, and 20 last week versus the Colts includes close to 400 yards on offense. And keep in mind, they were on the goal line to punch in and possibly get a win 27-26 against a decent Indianapolis defense. This offense without Bill O'Brien and even down a couple stars can still put up some points. I think they can get over the total in this football game. That's the way I'm looking for the remainder of the week. 161-162, Denver and Carolina back on the board, off the board. It looks like we're sitting around that 3.5 range here at SBRodds.com, 46.5. Teddy Bridgewater, yes, he's going to be the starter. Drew Lock, yes, he will be the starter as well. But who's going to be on that sideline for the Carolina Panthers? Doesn't look like Christian McCaffrey is going to make it to the starting gate here. And I agree with the way that they're playing in Carolina. Yeah, you paid the guy a lot of money, so you want a return on your investment. But a return on investment this year makes absolutely 0 sense. Like if you're a salesman and you only need 15 sales for the month, Kyle, there's 3 days left. You got 3 sales lined up. Why are you selling them in the last 2 days when you can sell them on the first of the month and actually get a paycheck? You guys out there that have those cubicle jobs know exactly what I'm talking about here. So
that's right.
When you take a look at this game, I'm actually going to lean on the points with Denver. I know they're down a couple cornerbacks in this game. It's a complete toss-up here. We talk about every game. This game is probably one of the most least exciting games here. But Denver, I think you get an okay effort here. And I'm just going to take if it's 3, I probably would take Carolina. 3.5, I lean Denver. That's how ridiculous to me this game is for me to try to cap and find an edge.
Yeah, this game's a run for the hills type game. And we got to keep an eye on DJ Moore as well. He may not play in this game, really limiting Carolina. But then Denver just put another defensive back on IR. So they're without their top 3 corners now. Callahan, Bouye, and Basang. All 3 are out. When you look at the weapons, if even one of those 2 can play, Curtis Samuel or DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson should have a big game in this game. The passing game should be there. I can't trust the Broncos anymore. I've been trying to trust the Broncos. I've tried so many times to trust the Broncos. They couldn't even get me to 17.5 or 16.5 last week against Kansas City, who I don't think is a very good defense either. This game's really, really tough to cover. It's a complete stay-away game. I don't see any reason to try to look for something crazy in this game. But for me, just since I do not trust the Denver Broncos, I'll lean Carolina there. But again, keep an eye on the injury reports, Moore and Samuel. If they're down Moore, Samuel, and Christian McCaffrey, could make things a little more difficult. I still expect Robbie Anderson and Bridgewater to have nice games this week, though.
Yeah, if we're sitting on an under in this also, keep in mind, the game is going to be in Charlotte, 66 degrees and under 10 mile an hour in December. That is a really nice day. And also just going over some anomalies as well. That Giants game, which you figure the Giants would actually like if you could go back to what Giants weather used to be in the Meadowlands in December. Swirls, windy winds, 25 degrees, flurries. Not going to be the case. You're pushing 60 at MetLife Stadium here on Sunday as well. So some decent weather coming in for December, which, hey, I never get a disagreement. One, A, I live here, and B, I love to bet over. So I'm a big fan of getting some of these weather. Now, talk about some weather, talk about retiring. Tom Brady came out and said, you won't catch me in New England anymore, man. I love this warm weather. 78 degrees at kickoff, under 10-mile-an-hour winds. We're expecting to get points here in this Minnesota-Tampa Bay game. Rotation 163, 164. 6 out of every 10 tickets here at SBR Odds coming in on Tampa Bay. Line opened up at 6.5 here, Kyle. It hasn't moved all week long. Now you see the practice reports come out. Athletes and their hammies with Mike Evans. That's a devastating injury for him. Also, keep in mind, Chris Godwin, who is going to play this weekend. It's never great when you get the pins out of your finger. I've been a wide receiver. You catch with your hand. You're not a big, ugly tackle that just tapes up his whole hand and says, hey, I'm in the trenches. It's no big deal. Making those fingertip catches, catching those rocket balls out of Tom Brady may affect him a little bit. So if you're down Mike Evans on the outside, you can focus in on Chris Godwin, and now you turn to more of a running game. But on the opposite side, Minnesota seems like they can score on anybody. Should be healthy once again coming into this game. And now it's kind of funny we say this because whenever you see their backup running back, Madison, might not play again, what's that mean? More Dalvin Cook. What's not more to like here? I like the over in this game. It's now creeping up higher because we saw it around that 51.5, 52 range. Now 52's across the board. It still seems like a short line for Tampa Bay at 6.5, but I actually like points in this game. One of the questions I like to ask you every week, Kyle, more likely 28-24 type of game or 21-17 type game? Come on, man.
Oh, there's a 28-24 game. Now, Tampa's good against the run. They might make things a little difficult on Dalvin Cook, but he's so effective in the passing game as well. All this zone that Tampa Bay plays is really going to play into the hands of Kirk Cousins. He's actually pretty good in those situations, and they've got 2 very good receivers on the outside. You mentioned the Mike Evans injury and the hamstring. He's played through some of that stuff this year, but even if he does play, when you're held out for a hamstring injury on Thursday, you're not going to be fully healthy on Sunday. It just does not work that way. The Chris Godwin thing, I think this is the healthiest Chris Godwin is going to be in a while. He's been playing with the splint on that hand and catching balls. Now he gets the pins out. He took every rep in practice today, which I think is a good sign. Chris Godwin should go. I still like Tampa Bay here. You cannot trust the Vikings. I mean, when you struggle to win a must-win game at home against Mike Glennon and the Jacksonville Jaguars, I'm sorry, I don't think you stay within a touchdown of Tampa Bay. And I love Tom Brady after a bye week. His arm is lively. He's an older guy. He's going to be rested and healthy. I think Gronk has a good game in this game. Godwin, Antonio Brown. I think Tampa Bay rolls here, but you're absolutely right. I think there's points. I see Tampa Bay getting into the mid-30s, Minnesota in those low 20s. So I think this game goes 55 or above. So I'm actually pretty happy getting that 52.5. Now, again, that's scary to say that because anything can happen. And I pushed with this over last week with Minnesota. I just think Tampa Bay comes out and butt races them. No one in that secondary can deal with these weapons, even if Mike Evans is gone. So give me Tampa Bay this week, coming off a bye, rested Brady at home. I think they win by a touchdown.
Top 5 linebacker in football, Eric Kendricks, also, if you remember last week, before they even got the game started with Jacksonville, re-injured his calf in warmups, hasn't practiced this week. And the calf injury is actually worse than the hamstring injury because, as you know, if you're an explosive player like he is, let's just say there's a fullback or a running back, Ronald Jones, a big boy coming in there. You have to meet him in there, stalwart him. Where's all that power come from? Right from your calf. If he doesn't play this weekend, that's a big boon to Tampa Bay because I always have a big board where I circle games where I'm interested in the team total. Even though the Bucs team total is in the high 20s, didn't anticipate the Mike Evans injury information coming out. So let's just say Evans does play, is off the injury report like Julio Jones seemingly does every week. That offense should tee off on Minnesota. I mean, tee off. You took on a team last week. Jacksonville should have scored even more points than they actually had. Tampa Bay is a much better offense, and they should be able to press the issue. But keep an eye on that Eric Kendricks situation as the rest of the week goes on, because that is a massive loss. The best player on their defense not playing in the middle, trying to stop the run and slow down the tight end game. He's going to have to be in there. Let's keep going here. Last 1 o'clock game is a good one, 165-166. Kansas City going down to South Beach to take on the Miami Dolphins. 6 out of every 10 tickets here at SBRodds.com coming in on Kansas City. Opens at 7.5, but we're now seeing 7s here across the board in a lot of outlets. Over under 48.5 goes to 50.5 now. What are we believing in this game? Tyreek Hill, sickness, not COVID. He should be good to go by the game on Sunday. Mm-hmm. Are we reading into, because I'm just going to go take a look at, scroll it down and say, what have the Miami Dolphins done for us this year? Which has been amazing stuff, because when you think of the Dolphins, they're 8-4 and a really, really good football team. You still have the young rookie at quarterback, which, hey, he's going to have his bumps and bruises as he gets in the game. But the name of the game is winning. And also, Kyle, if the name of the game is not winning, it's playing close. Fitzpatrick started that first game of the year, which couple months already. They lose by 10. Then they drop a game to Buffalo by 3. They lose to Seattle, who back then was roughing everybody up 31-23. They lose to the Denver Broncos on the road with the rookie 20-13. But obviously they've won all the other games. That shows me they're not scared of competition here. And if that trigger number is 7 to 7.5, if I can get the 7.5, Kyle, I like the Miami Dolphins in this game.
Oh, yeah, and the Chiefs just haven't been covering these big spreads that everyone's been giving them. They've been dreadful against those, and you're absolutely right. Those two corners, now Tyreek Hill is a special kind of talent. He's faster than anyone I've ever seen run in pads. It's really crazy to watch him run after the ball's in his hands. But Miami has good corners on the outside that can deal with them. Jones and Howard are both terrific players. The Miami defense can get after the quarterback a little bit, and they're going to slow things down. So I actually like the under in this game. I don't think Tua puts up a ton of points or yards against this defense, even though they are a beatable defense. I'm not feeling that. And I'm not going to lay a touchdown or more with the Chiefs anymore this year until they show me that they can actually put their foot down and put a team away, which they couldn't even do to the Denver Broncos last week. So I'm with you. I've got Miami covering at home, and I kind of like the under in this game as well. I'm not sure that it gets to 50.
No, I think because again, your pathway to victory for Miami is not let's shoot it out with Kansas City, right? Play really good defense, play good special teams. If you have a 4th and 1, you're going to be going for it at the 31-yard line as opposed to kicking a field goal, thinking you could beat the Chiefs. And the one thing that now, if you're taking the 7.5, I got to say, Kyle, if you can somehow get Vic Fangio into this game, and instead of going for it at midfield, which would cause Kansas City to score a touchdown, he punts it, I'm going to be all right with that in this spot here by Brian Flores.
Vic Fangio. God, I didn't even bash on him in that Denver game. I totally forgot to bash on Vic Fangio. God, it might just make me bet Carolina. He's a scared coach. You're not going to get that with Brian Flores. The Dolphins are going to go for it. They're trying to win. And he knows how to lead young teams and instill confidence instead of teaching them how to be cowards for their entire life. So I'm glad you reminded me that I wanted to yell at Vic Fangio all week long. But no, I just think Miami covers here. They're good enough. And Kansas City doesn't seem to have that killer instinct where they're trying to really put teams away. Miami should be able to hang around. Keep an eye on, the Myles Gaskin. I know he's been a little limited, but he did just come back from a knee injury. I'm going to take the under, and I'm going to take the Dolphins.
Kansas City team total over 30, whatever it is. I think it's in the over whatever it is. I think it's in the low 30s there. Too many points for Kansas City. NC says Mr. coming in the chat box. I actually scrolled right past his comment there. People are betting the Dolphins on money line in droves over Mahomes. It's the COVID effect. Yeah, look, man, it's hard to. It's one of those teams where if you're betting the Miami Dolphins in this game, Kyle, 1 o'clock, you put the bet in. You go out, you have some fun with the wife and kids, and you go like this when you see the score at the end of the game. Oh, yes, I covered that one because it's a painful one when you try to get after those. So, and yes, Jamison Taylor comes in here. Sup, guys? What is up? Let's get through some of these games in a few, probably about 15 minutes. We'll have Kelsey Kramer join us for the Pick 6 contest picks. But again, a full week in the NFL, so extra games. We got to get through some of these and start to clear them. 4:05, we'll get to the 4 o'clock games. 167 and 168. Phillip Rivers, Derek Carr, Indianapolis, Las Vegas on deck here. 50-50 ticket split coming into this game, and not a lot of live movement, Kyle. Opened up as a 3-point favorite here offshore at Pinnacle on SBRodds.com. 2.5 showing up. 3s and light juice at most outlets. 50.5 goes up to 51. Pencil in Indianapolis to be into the mid-20s. It's just a matter of what you're going to get on offense out of the Raiders. And it seems to me like that Indianapolis defense has a little bit of that Bears-type flu where where's the defense we saw over the first half of the season? Because it looks like you can gash them. The one thing we know about Las Vegas, they have a decent offensive line to hold off the pass rush. You have some guys you can take deep shots with, and also a legitimate top 3, top 5 tight end in the NFL in Waller. They should be able to score, but on vice versa, Indianapolis should be able to score on that bad Raiders defense. And Phillip Rivers, again, Kyle, where's he at? In a dome in Las Vegas. I get some points in this game.
Yeah, points, and I like the Colts. What have the Raiders shown us lately? Okay, let's look at their last 2 weeks. You get boat raced by 5 touchdowns by the Atlanta Falcons. Then last week, if it wasn't for the, depending how you look at it, most boneheaded coaching decision / saving the number 1 pick, so maybe the smartest overall coaching decision, however you want to look at it, they should have lost to the Jets. I mean, they legitimately should have lost to the Jets. Darren Waller had to play out of his mind for them to win that game as well. Josh Jacobs still not practicing, so that makes things even tougher. Devontae Booker, I know we all loved him in DFS, including myself.
Yep.
He looked like crap. He is not Josh Jacobs. There's a reason he's a backup and been released by team after team after team. So I think the Colts win this game. I think they look good doing it. Phillip Rivers in December. I'm always behind Phillip Rivers in December. So congratulations, Donnie, there. And then there's a little joke for that. Hey. And I like the Colts in this one. The line seems too short. I've just been really disappointed of what I've seen out of the Raiders. Big-time playoff implications in this game as well. Frank Reich knows it. I'm sure John Gruden knows it. But there's just more talent, a better defense, a better offense, better quarterback, better skill position players outside of Darren Waller. I like the Indianapolis Colts. I think 2.5 is just too short.
Yeah, getting healthy. I mean, look at the last 4 games there. Tennessee put up 34 points. Green Bay put up 34 points. Got busted by Tennessee, but still put up 26. And again, that Houston game put up 26. We will not really pay too much homage to the 4th and 1 play with about 7 minutes to go that would have given my wife maybe a new pair of shoes if a field goal was attempted, as opposed to a 4th and 1 up the middle with your smallest running back. But that's for another day, another story at this point. I know I'm getting a competent performance out of Indianapolis. That's my moniker each and every week when I bet my money on Indianapolis. And again, even though I didn't come up with a team total over 26.5, they should have gotten it 24 at the break. I know I'm going to be in each and every game, and it's one of those where I'm not saying, why did I do this to myself? They're going to give you an honest effort. I agree with you. As square as it is, 2.5, 3, when I look at this football game, the better team is the Colts. They are in a dome. It's not outside. It's not cold weather, 30-mile-an-hour winds where I think, Carr would have a better arm than Phillip Rivers does. I think they'll be fine in this game. I think they pick up the victory. Let's keep going here. 169, 170. No real reason to spend a ton of time on this game. Sam Darnold getting the start almost pulled them out of a 0-win season, but fell back. Good for them. He'll lose. And again, I'd take to be the quarterback knowing that you need to win a game or your job is actually out of here because they're drafting your replacement. It's kind of an interesting dynamic, but now it doesn't look like you're going to have Denzel Mims for this game, who had a family emergency. I wonder if he would have had a family emergency if they were making a playoff run, but now that they're out of it and hey, one of our better players can't make it. Sure. Go handle your business in Texas. We'll see you next week. It's no big deal. Now you're down to Perriman and Crowder. You're going to go to play an angry Seattle team. But the one thing that you can really get after for the secondary is the New York Jets. Maybe we'll let Russ cook this week because slowing down the games like they've been doing and let's get ready for playoff football, not working here. Let Russ drop back 45 times, blow this team off the field. But 14 points again, we just keep getting back to. That's not their MO for Seattle.
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't want to waste too much time because I'm running for the hills on this game. But there's 2 things I don't want to do. I don't ever want to bet the Jets, and I never want to take the Seahawks laying big points because they just don't blow people out. So if I was betting this game, as gross as this sounds, I would be taking the 13.5 points with the Jets, because even though Seattle's going to win this game, I might add 10 or 20 cents on a money line parlay as like my 8th or 9th choice just for fun, because it feels like a nice safe play. But Seahawks don't blow people out. It's not what they do. Going to see some rain, of course, up there in Seattle. It's the one game this week where they're calling for some moisture, which you can basically pencil in every week for Seattle. So even though I'm running for the hills, don't like much about this game, I'm still, I guess, I would take the Jets to cover, just because Seattle doesn't blow people out. Never have, never will.
By the way, getting back to Indianapolis-Las Vegas game here, Rob Hausler, everybody has the Colts. It's too obvious. So that means it's what, Kyle? What does that mean?
It's pain.
Can you forget? Pain is one thing. I'm looking for another tagline here that I like to use when everybody is betting one side here.
Everybody
my tagline. Everybody and their mama is taking the Colts this week, and let's see if Mama is going to be able to cook up some food on Sunday afternoon. Let's keep rolling through these games. 151, 152. Not an exciting game here. If Aaron Rodgers doesn't throw for 350 and 3 touchdowns in this game, just shut down the whole NFL, because he's going to be in a dome with a full offense going against that putrid Detroit defense. But what are we going to get out of Detroit in this game from an offensive perspective? Because Green Bay Packers, they don't have a great defense either. The one thing that I'm looking for this weekend, if you can get back like a Kenny Golladay and a DeAndre Swift, I might be interested in this over, even though it's 55. Nobody's stopping Green Bay, and Matthew Stafford gives us his damnedest every week, whether or not anybody is playing. And oh yeah, they're going to be playing in a dome. 55 is a ridiculous number, but these are two ridiculous defenses here.
Yeah, their defenses are bad, and they should get DeAndre Swift back. Wish Kenny Golladay would make his return. My fantasy team could certainly use that. Boy, oh boy, it's scary betting in over 55. I think you're right. There's no way they stop Green Bay. Jeff Okudah is going to be out there trying to guard Devontae Adams. That's going to be an abysmal matchup. He's giving up something like 0.57 fantasy points per route ran against. It's been absolutely dreadful on the perimeter. Nothing about Detroit screams anything positive to me, but one thing you do know, when they're behind, they are going to throw the football. They're going to throw it downfield to Marvin Jones and the rest of the cast of, practice squad players that they're throwing out there at wide receiver. It seems like a lot of points to give the Packers. We just saw them at home almost lose to Jacksonville. So I think this is another one. I will take the home dog to cover. I don't feel great about it, but it's got backdoor cover written all over it. I don't know if I could touch that 55. That scares the living crap out of me, that 55 number. But I do think Detroit has a decent chance of covering this week. It's going to be a backdoor cover. If you're betting Green Bay, take the first half, because that first half of football, we talk about it here.
Last week,
always say,
yep. Mm-hmm.
It's the truest form of football here. Green Bay will be up at the half, but I do think Detroit sort of backdoor covers here, so I'll go with that.
Bruno comes in here. Damn, I'm late. You know what happens if you're late, Kyle? You can always hit that link down below, sprpicks.com/NFL, and catch up on everything that you missed. Brian Talati, hello. Donnie and Kyle, hello. Welcome to the chat box. And yes, T.Y. Hilton, big game again. He's woken up and get back to those levels where we finally anticipated him. So 3,500, 3,900 on DraftKings, probably going to be a thing of the past within this next week. I haven't checked on those prices, but one would think. Next game, let's talk about here. This line tells you everything you need to know here. 50-50 ticket split opens up at 2. The line now sits at 2.5 between Atlanta and the Los Angeles Chargers. Over under 49.5. It tells you everything you need right there. Atlanta is the play to me in this one. And if you go back to let's just say before when this, when they open up the season, 5 straight losses. They beat Minnesota out of nowhere 40-23. Lose to Detroit by a point, should have won that game. Beat Carolina, beat Denver, and lost 2 out of the last 3 games to New Orleans, who I think is the best team to me in the NFC when healthy. And then they blow out the Vegas Raiders in between their 43-6. It's all competent football. What are we getting out of Anthony Lynn and the Chargers but a lot of quitting and a 45-0 victory lost last week where Anthony Lynn says, hey, I'm the head coach. I'm going to go coach the special teams? Get out of here.
I mean, that's where he should be. That's all he should be coaching is special teams. And I love that tweet. Yeah, tee up, a kickoff return for a touchdown, because if you got Anthony Lynn screwing up the special teams, you can't trust Anthony Lynn. No, I don't trust either of these teams. And I have backed Atlanta a couple times this year and then went back and said, why the hell did I back a team that doesn't know how to win? Well, now they're playing another team that doesn't know how to win. You're right. The play here is the Falcons. The Chargers are absolutely dead. They're dead in the water. They have no belief in their coach. Their fans are calling for the coach's head. The players got to be questioning themselves. The defense is terrible. And Atlanta has actually been playing better, and they've been very good against opposing running backs and against the run. So it's going to put even more pressure on the young quarterback after a bad week last week. Do I think they bounce back? Sure. Should there be points in this game? Absolutely. 49 seems a bit low for this game, but I think you're right here. The play is the Falcons. Two teams you can't trust, but I really can't trust Anthony Lynn, so I'll go with the Falcons.
Yeah, no, that's the only way I can go in this game. They're competent foot. I want the team, Kyle, that I think that they're listening to the coach. They're playing competent football. And again, it seems like everybody has a dome now, which is great because it used to be where those teams at like Atlanta and New Orleans, hey, let's get them outside the dome. They're in a damn dome every week. Yeah. And also, no crowd on the opposite side, quiet environment. We'll see what Julio Jones is messing around again with his hamstring, which he does every week. So we'll see how that pans out the rest of the week. But that's the way I'm going with that one. How about this one, Kyle? 173-174. The New Orleans Saints and the Philadelphia Eagles no longer starting Carson Wentz in this one, going with Jalen Hurts. How about when they made the announcement? Opens up at 7, right? Anticipating probably Carson Wentz going to get another start, but not sure. They announced that Jalen Hurts is going to be the quarterback. The line quickly shifts to 7.5. Now we see today across the board at SBRodds.com, 6.5. Now look, I'm rooting for the Eagles, and I always have an Eagles rooting interest. But you guys know me. I'm usually the harshest critic against my team. Last week, I didn't think they would cover against Green Bay, but Kyle brought up the point. Look, Green Bay is going to be up at the half against the Eagles. They just really can't do much. They didn't. They were up at the half. Now, we take a look at this game here. A rookie is going to get his first start, and I completely agree with it because the Eagles' offensive line outside of Jason Kelsey is an utter embarrassment. You're going up against, to me, Kyle, what is a top 5 defense in the NFL. Good linebacker play, great pass rush, and a legitimate secondary. The Eagles don't have any weapons at wide receiver. They do have 2 decent tight ends, which Zach Ertz is still in a milk carton somewhere, and Dallas Goedert is still trying to run routes. Miles Sanders, who's a very good talent, can't run. Why? Because nobody can block on the front end. So now the young quarterback's going to get a lot of looks he never saw, but he is going to make some plays with his feet. When that pocket collapses, Wentz can't get out of there. He's going to be able to get out and make plays. But is this one of those games you're saying, like, all right, he's going to make some plays with his feet? This is no longer, I'm getting 10 points or 12 points. Let's hang around. You're going to have to be in this football game to win it with Jalen Hurts. And I'm not ready to bank a young kid. But having said that, you're going to get 60 degrees on Sunday and a nice day. But I love the way New Orleans is operating on offense and defense. Am I a fool to say that New Orleans shouldn't win by 7? Come on, really?
No, I think you're right.
Hurts me, but yeah.
And then I love just seeing, anytime I see Alshon Jeffrey question, Alshon Q Jeffrey, the original, besides Q from Star Trek, of course. That's a whole nother conversation. But no, this Saints defense is really, really good. Marcus Davenport should be there. Jenkins, Lattimore. I think things look pretty ugly for Philly this week. I like Taysom Hill is looking like a competent thrower of the football. We sort of saw it last week again against that's against Atlanta. Darius Slay banged up. Fletcher Cox not practicing fully this week. That would be another big concern. They want Fletcher Cox in there to stop the run. I just cannot trust the Eagles. The Saints are a much, much better team. Now, if this was 7.5 or 8, I'd start to get a little nervous. I think about a touchdown is about right in this game. Again, we don't really know what we're going to get out of Jalen Hurts, but I think the play right now, you'd be crazy to bet your money on the Eagles right now. So there you go, Akbar. I'm bathing a team in the so there you go in the chat box. I cannot put my money on the Eagles. Give me the Saints here, and I love looking at those 6.5s and 7s there. I'll take the Saints in this one. Eagles just aren't doing it for me this year, not with a rookie quarterback.
The Saints are just ripping off wins left and right, but when they really planted their flag in the NFL was with the Tampa Bay game. They won 38-3. Since then, 27-3 San Francisco, 24-9 Atlanta, 31-3 Denver, 21-16 Atlanta again. I'm going to, and if I see a different Eagles offense this week, I'm going to end up breaking my computer because it just shows the ineptness of the coaching staff, which now they're going to get creative when they didn't want to do it before. But we're going to be a whole lot more in that game on Sunday. It's just interesting to me that line is now dipped below 7 with a rookie quarterback getting his first start. And correct me if I'm wrong. This isn't like a rookie quarterback stepping into a Kansas City football team. It's stepping into an Eagles football team. So
Yeah.
I'm dumbfounded. I love the line movement because I think
Me
it gives
too.
my Eagles a chance, but hey, is what it is. 175, 176, Washington and San Francisco. I know you hate your San Francisco 49ers this game, but I love them. There's -3s with juice across the board, 3.5s with light juice. But if I'm going to get San Francisco -3 in this game, I think they punch Washington in the mouth. I really do. The way you beat San Francisco's defense is have an athletic, dominant quarterback. That is the exact opposite of what Washington is. So now you're going to say, hey, Nick Mullins, I don't need you to be a hero in this game. Hand the football off, make sure passes, Washington by a touchdown. Or excuse me, San Francisco by a touchdown.
I mean, I want to back my 49ers here, and you've sort of talked me into it a little bit. The one thing that does concern me for Washington is no Antonio Gibson. He's really kind of helped stabilize that offense, put them into those, 3rd and 2s, 3rd and 3s that Alex Smith is good at, because that's all he's good at doing is throwing a 3-yard pass. The 49ers secondary didn't look great against Buffalo, but you're right. Mobile quarterbacks, dominant quarterbacks do actually give the 49er problems. Obviously, Alex Smith is a stationary quarterback now, not even making his return to San Francisco. It's up in Arizona. I love the 49ers defense. I think the under is absolutely in play in this game. I do not see a lot of points being scored. I think these two defenses make things pretty tough. Oh, man. I think I will take Washington here. I don't think you're crazy taking the 49ers, but every time I pick them, they lose. I want them to win this week. So just understand that in the chat box here. I'm trying to reverse jinx my 49ers to a victory. I think the under is the safest bet. I can't really pick a side. If Antonio Gibson is indeed out, I'll start leaning more towards San Francisco. It looks like he's doubtful and not practicing. So it does. Man, I'm 50-50 on this game. I really am. Two good defenses. I like the under. The under's the play here. And I'll lean Washington. I'll let you have my 49ers.
Yeah, I look at this game almost like the way that the 49ers go up against the Rams. You pressure the quarterback a little bit because he can't get out of the way. And again, Washington doesn't have nearly the weapons that the Rams have. I just think it sets up really well for the San Francisco 49ers this game. We'll see how it plays out. Sunday Night Football, then a Monday night game. Then Kelsey's going to join us here, and we'll have some fun going over some Pick Six contest winners here, 177 and 178. Pittsburgh and Buffalo, a little bit of line movement here. Opened up around the pick'em range at a few outlets, shifted over to Buffalo around 2.5, but now we're seeing that buyback here to 2s. And even at some of the sharper books here, Pinnacle, Kyle, -1 for Buffalo. It's funny because I like the Bills in this game, and I think the Bills take care of business. But Pittsburgh getting a little bit healthier back from COVID, I don't like James Conner at all. But without James Conner, they don't even have like an NFL running back on the roster. And you saw it last week where they ran for like 20 yards against the Washington football team. They had a 2-touchdown lead on. That is ridiculous numbers here. Now at least you get a guy that if you hand the football off can plow forward. Pouncey should be back as opposed to a rookie center that's been starting the past couple weeks. I think they get healthy, but I do think they're able to score some points. Even though it's a square play and the line's going in the opposite direction now, I think Buffalo can beat the Pittsburgh Steelers here on Sunday Night Football in Buffalo, but I would not be surprised if this game comes down to the last possession with Pittsburgh with a chance to win. I'm going to stick with my initial prognostication here early in the week. I still like Buffalo to win this game, though, Kyle.
Yep, I like Buffalo, and sounds like the Jets do as well. But Joe Hayden now a little bit banged up. That secondary for Pittsburgh getting less and less healthy and less dominant. I like what I saw out of Buffalo's offense last week. So I am also going to roll with Buffalo, even though Pittsburgh's been good to me for most of the year, especially when laying points or getting points. But I just think they're trending backwards. I don't know if they're going to be explosive enough. As weird as that sounds with all the weapons and James Conner coming back, it is interesting to me that they just seem so limited. They're getting the ball out of Big Ben's hands so quickly. They're not really looking for those big shots, besides once in a while they go up top over there to Chase Claypool who's going to have Tre'Davious White on him. So I think I'm right with you. You're right. It's the square play. It seems like the easy pick. I am seeing a lot of tickets on some books coming in on Pittsburgh, but I think I'm going to go with you this week. I think I like Buffalo. Should be a big game again for Josh Allen this week against a beat up and less dominant than they were early in the year Pittsburgh secondary.
Yeah, Pittsburgh, but when you take a look at the last month of the season for Pittsburgh, they played Cincinnati, inferior opponent busted them 36-10. So, Jacksonville 27-3 with the rookie quarterback, broke him down. But then you got that weird COVID game where they, dominated Baltimore, but a late pass made it a little bit closer, 19-14. But also in that game, you felt like Pittsburgh didn't have to do much to win the game. And they did, which they only won it by 5. And I think they got caught in that same trap versus Washington. They got a 14 points. This Alex Smith team stinks and leads them right down the path to a loss. You're not going to be able to do that against Buffalo. Buffalo's not coming out here and being like, hey, let's hand it all 3 yards in a cloud of dust. Josh Allen is coming for blood this weekend against a really good Steelers defense. They're going to have to answer the bell and score points. So I do think this game leads itself to an over as well, because I think both of these offenses should be able to move. Even though I do really like that Steelers defense, Buffalo's on another planet the way Allen is playing, and that offense is moving the football. Monday Night Football, last game we'll talk about Baltimore-Cleveland. Like this game, and the folks are coming back for Baltimore now. Decimated a week and a half ago. Each and every day, more and more guys are coming back. Lamar Jackson looked healthy with his legs. That running game got cranked up again. Now you get Willie Snead back. Now you get Andrews back at tight end. You get Matthew Judon back to be an outside pass rusher. Now you're going in to play that Cleveland team. This is a good Monday Night Football game. Opened up at -1 today after more of those COVID activations. 2.5s across the board. I agree with it. Game 1, they smacked them. I think Baltimore is built the exact way you need to beat the Cleveland Browns. Keep an eye on Denzel Ward. Still didn't practice today. If he's still bummed with that calf issue, I think Baltimore gets into that mid-20s range and puts them away in this game. I think they beat Cleveland on the road on Monday Night Football here.
Oh, yeah. I would take Baltimore -9.5 in this game. I swear to God I would. I think Baltimore beats the crap out of Cleveland. Cleveland is a fraud. I'm not afraid to say it. I know I said it last week. But the Cleveland Browns are not built to beat this. The Cleveland Browns are not built to beat this Baltimore team. Now, if they get going on the ground, and Zeke Elliott was able to do that despite Campbell and Brandon Williams back. Calais Campbell does not look healthy. He's barely moving out there. But I just don't see enough big plays. I don't know how they stop the run of Baltimore and the occasional pass, even though that passing game for Baltimore is not explosive. The Cleveland Browns are absolutely they're a fade. They're a fraud. Baltimore beats the brakes off them on Monday night. I can't wait to make fun of them all Monday. You look at that first game, it's going to be very similar to that. When things get tough for Baker Mayfield, things go bad. Last week, Tennessee made things way too easy with that bad pass rush, bad secondary. They got off to a good start, and it just snowballed for Tennessee. That's not going to happen against Baltimore. There's going to be some adversity for Baker Mayfield against Baltimore. I like Baltimore, and I like them easily in this game. The Cleveland Browns, I'll say it again, are a fraud.
Yeah, we take a look at the past couple games there for the Baltimore Ravens also. You know, they beat Indianapolis with a nice road win, 24-10. They lost in that monsoon game in New England, 23-17. Lost the overtime game, 30-24 in Tennessee. Got crushed with COVID and lost to Pittsburgh by 5, and then bounced back with like one practice and put up 34 points against Dallas. I think that offense is going to look much, much better on Monday night with a lot of reserves. And also keep in mind, a key injury that you like to look at while these weeks go. Yeah, Judon's going to come back to try to help out and give a pass rush, but also Jimmy Smith did not play versus the Dallas Cowboys. If he comes back, that's a formidable 1-2 punch in that secondary with 3 really good corners. Now an uplifted pass rush with Campbell getting an extra week back and also Matthew Judon coming back as well. I like this game Monday night. We're going to do it live and have a lot of fun, so you guys need to join us. But now it's time to talk a little Pick 6 football action. Pencil me in at 3-3 each and every week. But you know what we do on Thursdays? We bring in the first lady of football here at sportsbookguru.com, Kelsey Kramer, here to join us. Kelsey, what's good out there, huh?
Hey, I'm glad I made it. I didn't have power all morning. I just got it back like an hour ago.
Oh, nice.
Now, is there storms out there? I mean, come on, it's usually nice weather out there.
It's raining. It's cold and it's raining.
They're just not built for any type of rain. So any type of rain hits Arizona, the grid shuts down, the town shuts down. Zane Gonzalez can't kick. Yeah, kickers can't make kicks. Like, it all goes bad in Arizona when there's no power, when there's rain.
All right, let's have some fun this week and hit on some picks and plays tonight. We do have an interesting game out there, Kelsey, in Los Angeles between the New England Patriots and the Los Angeles Rams, Cam Newton and Jared Goff. Which way are we looking in this game? Because you have a little bit of a revival here on the Patriots. Already were in Los Angeles last week with a big victory, going to play in the same building. Do they repeat that performance? Or are we buying into the Los Angeles Rams' big win over Arizona last week?
I'm buying into the Rams. Like I said last week, I trust Bill Belichick, but I don't trust Cam Newton. Rams won last week, had a great game, but I was against the Chargers. The Rams are a different team. LA can break through easily at the beginning of the game and go from there. And Aaron Donald's gonna wish Cam Newton never came to town. So I'm with the
How
Rams.
about that, Kyle? That's sort of like the way everybody feels when Kyle comes into town.
That's right. And especially that my neighbor's landscaper. He's not here today. That's right. I actually did eventually apologize to that guy because I yelled at him way too much. I was way too angry at him. But I agree. I like the Rams as well. And it's going to be tough. I think you meant to say is Cam Newton's going to regret coming to town against Aaron Donald, right? You meant it the other way around.
I don't probably.
You said Aaron Dalton's going to regret seeing Cam Newton, but I think he smashes Cam Newton tonight. So I like that. I like the. We agree. We agree.
Same page there. Rams minus fan. So I'll be out on the island all by myself. I'm fine with that. Ain't no big deal here. Cardinals and the New York Football Giants. Kyler Murray coming east, and I look at that line here, Kyle, and I see like 2.5 points. Right, so I'm saying, you know what? This just might come down to a field goal at the end of the game. But nice weather. Hey, look, we're talking about beach weather over here in New Jersey. 60 degrees on Sunday, so Arizona will get a nice helping of good weather. Will that be enough to propel them to victory, or are the New York Giants going to win again against an NFC West opponent here, Kelsey?
I wish that the Cardinals would win. I hope they do, but I don't see it. I'm not feeling it. I like the Giants. I like what they did last week against Russell Wilson. I think they're going to do the same to Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray looks scared out there, and they should be 0-5 right now if it wasn't for that Hail Murray.
Real quickly, letting Zane Gonzalez know that you're picking against his team. Go ahead. Continue on.
Did you see him last week? He missed again. It's like,
what are you doing to that poor guy?
Unbelievable. I'm not doing a dang thing, Kyle. You know that.
Look, I mean, something's off with Arizona. But again, hey, coming east, nicer weather, maybe an extra week for Kyler Murray. And the one thing I do like about Kyler Murray is he's going to play on turf this week, so he should be up to speed on the offense. Me, as an Eagles fan, certainly rooting for the Chargers this week. For the Cardinals this weekend. But I can certainly see it. Let's take a look at the monsters of the Midway here, Kelsey. The Texans coming to town as a favorite on the road against Maserati Mitch. Mitch, usually playing that underdog role, plays it fairly well, but when he's asked to win games, -3, -4.5, he doesn't do so well, but he's catching points this week. Did they bounce back? Because they should have won last week. Are they down in the dumps this week, or do they bounce back and get a victory against the Texans? Or does Deshaun Watson come to town and say, hey, guys should have drafted me instead of Maserati Mitch?
That's what Watson's coming to town to do. I like Watson. He was pissed off last week after that loss, which they should have won too. And the Bears are just continuing to sink. I don't see them coming back up to beat the Texans here. And if the Lions figured out how to exploit them without Kenny Golladay, then the Texans are going to be able to do that too.
I agree.
What do you think, Kyle?
I think that's the right call. I mean, I think this game is tough, but you can't trust Mitchell Trubisky anymore. I did it last week. I fell on that sword, and it did not go well. It was a very, very painful morning. I mean, I took enough shots to ease the pain by about 11:30 or so, but I think 11:30, which is about right. That's like, I don't know, what is that on the East Coast? Almost 5 o'clock. It's fine. But I like the Texans this week. I can't do the Maserati Mitch. I like that nickname, Maserati Mitch. Can't do it this week, even though he does look like Tony Romo with his helmet on. He does. He absolutely looks like Tony Romo with his helmet on. Look at Mitch Trubisky with his helmet on. It looks like little Tony Romo, but you're right. I'm going to Deshaun Watson and the Texans.
Yeah, squinty eyes, fat face. Yeah, I can see it there.
Yeah,
that same expression, like, what's going on out here? What's going on out here? So there you go. By the way, Bruno in the chat box says, y'all crazy on this Giants game. I'm going for Arizona to win. I would like that as well. And Sonic Legend says, I got tickets for the Patriots game. Is anybody even allowed in Los Angeles? I don't even think you're allowed in your own house in Los Angeles, let alone go to a game.
You do not have tickets for that game. You do not. I went to a game there last year, and they give you Jello. I was on the field watching the game. They give you Jello shots on the field. Very dangerous when you're walking to that tunnel or go to the bathroom. They had to stop me from going to let the players play in the. That's another story for another day.
You were a shot guy? Usually it's a shot girl handing those out. So you were the shot guy handing those out?
Yeah, no, I was just drinking them. By the end, I was handing them out, and I wasn't supposed to be. It was a whole mess. Packers Chargers, great game. Chargers won that game.
All right, let's keep moving here. Chiefs and the Dolphins, as we saw last week, to my demise, I saw the old, 90-year-old football players smoking cigars and drinking whiskey as the Pittsburgh Steelers lost to the Miami Dolphins, 1972 legacy, which nobody gives a damn about this day and age. Nobody's even alive in 1972. I mean, obviously some people have been, but now we take a look at the Dolphins, plus 7 points here at home, which means they're going to have to be effective and play well. But this isn't your, grandpa, I shouldn't say grandpa, your little cousin's Dolphins of the past couple of years that have been absolutely trash. This is a good football team that can win games. And even when they don't win, they play it close. They'll be at home. Tua's in the lineup. Are we going Patrick Mahomes in this one? Or are we going with young Tua here at home in South Beach, Kelsey?
I love Tua. This Dolphins team is for real. I think KC wins, but I think the Dolphins can cover here. They've only lost by more than one possession. Once this, Donnie always makes these faces. They've only lost.
I agree. I think we both agree on this pick. I don't know what face he's making.
No, I see when you see me smile when you're looking at, like, I have a real, like, stuff bouncing around in my head that I have a filter that says I can't say this, but I say it in my head and I laugh to myself like, boy, that was a really funny thing I said. It just came out because next week it would just be Kyle and Kelsey, on the show together. So
that's right. And plus he's Phillip Rivers. He's got 14 kids, so he's always smiling. Very busy.
I think he's like more of a serial killer thing.
Oh,
don't Google me. That's why I have my name has a fake last name here on the screen. So there's a reason for that. So,
but I like the Dolphins. KC has struggled on the red zone, which means they've had a hard time covering. Tua all the way. Tag available.
There you go. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that game. I really am. Yeah. Kyle, we see a breakdown of that game. I think the Dolphins defense can slow the Chiefs down. It's just a matter of Tua making some plays to keep those chains moving out there.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with Kelsey. I think the Chiefs win. Most likely they'll pull it out. Even if they're down 3 or 4, Mahomes can score in 15 seconds. No, it doesn't really matter. He can go down and score whenever he wants. But they just don't put their foot on the gas like they were last year when they were terrific against the spread, 15-3 last year against the spread. Not the case this year. I think the Dolphins cover, and I also like the under in the game, like I mentioned earlier.
Will the Packers get the Aaron Rodgers rate when they go take on the Detroit Lions in the Dome this weekend? If I'm just looking at the game straight up, it's going to be hard for Detroit to get any stops against the Green Bay Packers. But it's the same thing is the opposite side. Last week I laughed, and my Philadelphia Eagles are going to Green Bay. Looks like it was going to be a blowout. And with 5 minutes to go, I'm going, oh my God, the Eagles are going to cover again, just like they shouldn't have covered versus the Seahawks. Because in this industry, we're not picking Green Bay just to win the football game. They basically got to win the game by more than 7 points. Do you think, Kelsey, the Green Bay Packers can go in and play Detroit, and Detroit put up a fight last week? It's funny because I look at Detroit, Kyle, as well. I look at the record and be like, no. They got like one win on the season, but they're actually a competent football team, it seems, at this point. Do they get the win and cover, or is it Green Bay just running away here in Detroit?
Yeah, you look at that, what is -9 for the Packers, and that's big, but the Lions shouldn't have won last week. They came back, they rallied, good for them, but they stunk at the beginning. And this is a different team they're facing, obviously. This is Aaron Rodgers, MVP guy. I like him a lot more than Drew Brees, a lot more than
wow.
I know.
Wow.
John, more than Drew Brees and more than Russell Wilson. I'm done with Russell now. And they're averaging 31 points a game, and I see them putting up a lot on the Lions. Aaron Rodgers knows how to switch it up. Packers
there. Hey, by the way, Kyle, she said the Lions rallied last week. You are known for puking and rallying, so go ahead on that.
That's correct, yes. Right during the Monday night show, as a matter of fact. We just get that done right there. I am the puke and rally king. Well, I used to be. I'm getting old now, so it's more like a puke and cry and pass out for 2 days king. It's kind of a sad reality, but I have a hard time trusting the Packers to cover just that spread because Detroit's going to keep throwing. I think the Packers win. Much better football team. Bad defense for both these teams, but I think you see a late backdoor cover. It's going to be like 30-14 late in the fourth, and then some nonsense touchdown by Stafford to some, Quintez Cephas or Mohamed Sanu, some garbage wide receiver, and the hearts will be broken. So even though I'm running away from this game, I'll take Detroit to cover. I don't feel great about it, but I guess I'd lean Detroit to cover.
Kyle talking about nonsense out here, sort of like the nonsense of Coastal Carolina talking about being in the NCAA football playoff, but that's another day, another story. We'll talk Saints and the Eagles coming up here, playing in nice weather in Philadelphia. Jalen Hurts gets the start. Can't be any worse than Carson Wentz at this point, but now we're looking at a game around 7 points. Did the Saints come to Philadelphia, Kelsey, and handle their business, or does King Jalen step up and say, I'm the new king of Philadelphia here?
I would love for King Jalen to step up, but I am rolling with the Saints, especially after last week. Again, Falcons could have won that, but they didn't. Saints defense shut them down. And the Eagles, I don't trust that. I don't trust that O-line. I don't trust Jalen yet. So I'm going to have to I'm going to have to stick with the Saints here, Donnie.
Look, I can't disagree with this. I like to go against the Eagles. Like me and Kyle are the same ilk here. Like we say, you know what, let's bet against the 49ers. Let's pick against them if they win. Everybody wins all the way around. So it's sort of a nice way to get that going here. And look at it. We got some members in the chat. Look, BP says he's a proud member of the Puke and Rally gang. And also AP, the biggest fan Kelsey has here. Kelsey looking good today. So there you go.
Ooh.
AP is a big Kelsey fan. He talks about you in every show that we do. So he's a good fan. He has
to splash in the soccer guys. When is Kelsey coming on the show? So he's a big fan all over the place here. So
that's it. Oh, thank you. Look at how smart Randy is in the chat that I have the best hair. Fantastic job. It's all those vitamins I take, buddy. All those vitamins.
He spray paints his hair before the show. It really goes about halfway up his head. So
that's correct.
His eye cream on. That's why.
The eye cream is always on. I should have put more on today. They do look a little puffy right now. I needed more Sementica in my life today, but is what it is.
Well, that's as Kyle would say, that's another day and another story. But we went almost an hour and 20 minutes. We're trying to sooner or later. It's just showing Thursday is going to get to 2 hours, and I don't quite have a problem with that. But another day, another dollar here on the SportsbookReview.com network here, talking NFL football. So we got Kelsey's pick six in here. But before we get out of here, we promised you we're going to talk a little football tonight because there is a game here between the Patriots and the Los Angeles Rams. We promised to go over some information, going over some prop bets here. So we always like to let the ladies go first here on Thursday. Kelsey, do we have any props, any picks? What are we looking for tonight between this Rams-Patriots game?
Oh, I'm liking Cooper Kupp over 5.5 and Cam Akers over 11.5 rushing attempts. For Kupp, Robert Woods will probably be seeing Gilmore, leaving Kupp open. So I like that one. Kupp has been good for fantasy too. And Akers, I'm a big Akers fan. I wanted him to go to the Falcons, but we got to Gurley instead.
Interesting.
So that's where we're going, right? Any more? Come on, we don't have any extras.
No, I'm not
bonus plays?
I'm not playing with the Patriots, no.
Oh,
I'm playing with the Patriots. I'm going to play with them in just a few moments here. Kyle, picks and props for tonight before I play with the Patriots.
That kind of party, and I like it. No, I already took the Rams tonight. I think the Rams get it done. Yikes. I think I was leaning the under early. It plays the under. It's really tough. I think the game plays to an under. Both defenses very good. A prop play I like. I actually parlayed one player into two props. I like Tyler Higbee over 2.5 receptions. When you look at those Patriots corners, Kelsey mentioned it, Stephon Gilmore on Woods, etc. The one weakness they do have is in the middle of the field with Jonathan Jones on Cooper Kupp. And I think both tight ends, Everett and Higbee, can have good games today. So I took Tyler Higbee over 2.5 receptions and over 26.5 yards receiving. That parlayed out to plus 110. I like that quite a bit. And I also made a bet on Cooper Kupp over 5.5 catches tonight.
Yeah, a lot of people lined up on Cooper Kupp, and I can't say I disagree with it. The only thing that gives me a little bit of pause in that is we know what Bill Belichick says, hey, what do you want to do really best in your passing game? We want to get the ball to Cooper Kupp. He sort of likes to tend to try to take that away and say, hey, Stephon, stay on the outside with some one-on-one coverage. We'll bracket Cooper Kupp. But he's been really good on that side. I actually have, because I'm still going to go with the New England Patriots first half at 3 points, just under the premise, if they're down 7 at the half, they're not going to win the football game. They have to be leading or really close at the half in order to end up winning this football game, which is why I'm taking the Patriots at the +3. But my 4 prop bets tonight come from the Patriots side. Sony Michel's rushing and receiving yards combined over 23.5, because their pathway to victory is not opening up the offense 5 wide receivers. It's going to be handing the football off, taking the chains each and every time, letting that clock move to slow down that Rams offense. Also, Damian Harris over 12.5 rushes in this game. If they're going to look, if he gets 7 or 8 rushes, they're getting blown out in this football game. In order for them to win and be close, Harris over 12.5 rushes. I can see him, Kyle, getting 15 touches in this game, and then a couple touchdown props the same way with the New England Patriots. I think there's just too much to spread around on the Los Angeles Rams for me to sort of zero in and find some value. So I went anytime touchdown Cam at -120. If they get to the goal line, you know he's running it in. And also, if he doesn't, I'm taking Harris at +250 as an anytime touchdown. If they're on the 1 yard line, to me, one or two things are going to happen. Cam's going to score, Harris is going to score. That should cover the bet. Hopefully it's Harris, because that will pay me +250 in this game. But a pretty good game that we can watch out for. And somebody said they waited over over an hour to get to this point. You see that, Kyle? See those teases we give out? You cover the game in the first 5 minutes. If we would have told you prop bets, you'd have been like, bounce, I'm out of here, and then nobody's watching the show. We keep it all. Look, Kelsey, you're in radio and TV, right? Always have the teasers ready to go, right?
At the end.
At the end. Yeah, you always got to wait till the very end.
And Kyle probably has a couple sayings.
I always do my best.
Everybody always waits to the end in most things in life. So that's where we'll end it on the show today, sportsbookreview.com. Thank you guys for joining us on Thursday. Most of the show, over 300 people watching live here. Thank you for doing that. 76,100 subscribers right here on our network, growing each and every day. If you missed the show, if you came in here and you wanted to see all these games broken down, click on the link below, sbrpicks.com/NFL. I'm Donnie Seymour. She's Kelsey Kramer. He's Kyle Purviance. We are sportsbookreview.com, and this was your Thursday show, NFL. Good look on your wagers tonight.
I was getting ready to rock and roll.
We did.